Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the First News newspaper. Idel Kabir, I am working day, night to address our challenges, Tinubu tells Nigerians. Idel Kabir, I am working day, night to address our challenges, Tinubu tells Nigerians. You find all the details on the front page of the First News newspaper. And to the Nigerian News Direct, Idel Kabir, Nigeria's economic security problems surmountable. Tinubu speaking. Idel Kabir, Nigeria's economic security problems surmountable. The president speaking there. And to the front page of the Daily Trust now, Idel Kabir, economic security challenges surmountable. Tinubu speaking. And some writers, Akpabio, Abbas, others preach love, unity. Buhari urges support for President. Atiku Obi call for prayers. You find all the details on the front page of the Daily Trust. Kemi.
Right, the leadership is next, and it's still on the Idel Kabir celebrations, quoting President Tinubu as well as governors, assuring Nigerians of a better future. Because the president is quoted as saying he's working day and night to move the nation forward, just as pilgrims pray for peace and prosperity at Mount Arafat. Let's check out Blueprint now. Muslim faithful on Eid al-Adha, it says cost of rams and foodstuff will not stop celebrations, just as high transport of fares prevent travelers. President Tinubu returns to Lagos, urges good deeds, and the IGP as well as the NSCDC deploy personnel and assure on security. That's all on the Blueprint. And finally is the Punch, leading with what it called subsidy removal. Poor Nigerians will hit 101 million without palliatives. That's according to the World Bank, saying that poor Nigerians will hit 101 million without palliatives. Ibrahim.
Right, the newspaper that I have here with me first is the Guardian newspaper, with the kicker reading inflation and subsidy removal. And the headline reads 7.1 million Nigerians may become poorer as families face 5,700 naira monthly loss. 7.1 million Nigerians may become poorer as families face 5,700 naira monthly loss. Nature News is next. Lagos Blue Line rail system to begin operations in August. Red line testing to commence. Lagos Blue Line rail system to begin operations in August. Red line testing to commence. That's the Nature newspaper. Daily Sun is next. Akpabio's choice of aides. Northern senators grumble. And the writer reads, accuses Senate president of snubbing region in selection of personal staff. Akpabio's choice of aides, Northern senators grumble. Last but not the least is this Nigeria. Disquiet over Senate majority leadership seat. Northern APC senators insist on position, want Ndume compensated for role in Akpabio's emergence. Disquiet over Senate majority leadership seat. Northern APC senators insist on position, wants Ndume compensated for role in Akpabio's emergence. Veronica.
Right. Let's quickly look at this story on almost all the pages of the papers this morning, talking about the president speaking about the challenges Nigeria is faced with at this time. He just returned from France, from the Finance Summit, as well as London, where he went on a private visit. And so when he returned yesterday into the country, in his Salah message, he spoke to the issues that Nigerians are facing as a result of some of the policies and steps he is taking. And he said that his decision so far is to ensure that he reforms the economy and that he also removes every impediment on the path of the country's growth, and that Nigerians should understand with him that whether it be economic challenges, security challenges, they are surmountable. Kemi.
Indeed, and we were saying yesterday that it's a month now since he was inaugurated, and he spoke it was a short message, but then it was heavy on his mandate to give renewed hope to Nigerians, and he also urged them to also face the future with vigor, even as he urged on people generally to also look out for the less privileged at this time. I know Ibrahim has spoken at length about the need to what makes this season so special. It's a season of love, sharing, giving, and as the president also spoke to that. Of course, he had a little mention. He also spoke, I should say, about the issue of security, called it simmering security, that despite these heavy challenges, they are all surmountable, and he's working day and night to assuage Nigerians and give them the country everyone desires.
Interesting stuff, because, the one thing I'm looking at in this government is that, before his emergence as president, a lot of people actually do not, let me not say, but vast majority of people as well, do not believe in him, that there is nothing he could do. Looking at all the lies and all of the things that are not tenable, that are said about him, bandied about him. So some have low expectations of what he's going to do, and that will even make it easier for him to overperform beyond what some have actually expected, and they are now beginning to see. Even though it was like, according to some reviews, that it was like a suicide when he came in the very first day, announced the removal of subsidy, saying fuel subsidy is gone. And the past administration saying, no, we actually removed subsidy. But then no administration in the past had the balls to say, okay, we want to remove. They all recognize the fact that it was there. But because they're now seeing the way it's turning out, seeing that Nigerians are now beginning to understand, and we are so blessed in this country, very adaptable. We adapt to situations, very fast. And that's one thing. Others are protesting for our own headache. So there's a lot of things that Nigerians are now looking forward to this administration doing. You mentioned the economy, infrastructure is there that he needs to build on, and some that he also needs to start from the scratch. And also electricity, I think it has improved to a larger extent, maybe from the feedbacks I've got so far. And the fact that there's a lot that is needed to be done. Nigerians want to see a better country.
Absolutely.
It's not that we hate our country to the extent that we want to jackpot, so to speak.
I think for me is the matter of the fact that he's sensitive to the plight of Nigerians. Because in his Democracy Day speech, he also spoke to the fact that he understands what Nigerians are going through.
Absolutely.
This is as against what Nigerians have known over the years, that persons who occupy this position do not necessarily speak to the fact that they are going through certain issues, and these persons are sensitive to the plight of the challenges they are going through. And that is what I think stands out for me, that he is speaking to the issues. I understand the challenges you are going through. I know that this is going on. And he also mentioned that Nigerians, this is a time of paying that sacrifice.
Correct.
And over time, perhaps some have said 6 months to a year, we'll see some level of stability in the system, in the economy. But the question is, how do we cushion the effect on Nigerians? Yes, the World Bank has said that, okay, if you say you are taking out subsidy, give that monies that you have taken out now to Nigerians as a way of cushioning the effect of the removal for now. Let's cushion the effect. Yes, the president had talked about ensuring that he injects those monies into infrastructure, in the education, in health, in some other areas. But the fact is, Nigerians seem to have tightened their belts to the very last limit, as it is right now, and they are asking for some leeway out of the situation they have found themselves.
Right. We cannot stress, that enough. The fact that people just need, would I call it elbow room now? People are really hard pressed. People are really suffering at this time. I mean, the transport fares induced, whether or not by the Salah that is already here, it was something else. And then looking at the traffic, thankfully it's somewhat better now. At least those of us applying the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway regularly. So people really just need a way out. And it's good to know that the president is mindful of these concerns and is speaking to these issues. I would also want to see, and I like the fact that he's taking advantage of celebrations, he's taking advantage of key days,
Moments,
so to speak,
yes.
key moments, to address the nation. And I personally want to see more of him, speaking to Nigerians, communicating with Nigerians, relating with them, because people are going through a lot. And I also like the fact that, was it Blueprint? And I think, yeah, Blueprint said something about, despite the high cost of rams, because I was listening to Ibrahim earlier on talk about, the variations of meats that can be used, during Salah and everything. I was trying to look for one that is possibly cheaper. And well, it's food, though. People will still go out to get what is within their means anyway. But I like the fact that, despite the high cost of whatever, I was in the market yesterday and I was shocked about the costs of tomatoes. In fact, there was none in the market as big as the market was. There was none at all. But, despite all of this hardship, it's good to know that celebrations will come. People will still rejoice that they are alive, and with the little they have, it's enough. It's enough for you to be hopeful, and we hope that people will not despair, despite the uncertainties and the hardship, because the president has said the future is bright, and we might as well run.
Yeah, people wouldn't despair if steps are taken in the direction in the direction that they see. If they see some level of hope in the decisions that the current administration takes. Yes, Nigerians always find a way of doing things. People pull resources together to share one livestock or the other because they want to celebrate and all of it. But it is beyond all of that. It is about the fact that what is the direction that the government is taking? What are the appointments it is making? Do we see hope in these persons to be able to deliver on whatever assignments they are given? Yes, we see the security chiefs speaking to the aspect of security, saying that they are going to implement all of the agenda of the president and all of it. Nigerians just do not want much, actually. They just want to sleep with their eyes closed, and that whenever they are hungry, they have food to eat. And whenever they want something to wear, they can afford it. That's just the basic things that Nigerians need, and that is what they want the government to begin to address. Yes, they would try to understand with the government, but then they want something that the government would also make sacrifice.
Correct. But then at the end of the day, any little thing we say the government, but we are not talking about our own selves. We don't expect government to do everything for us. We talked about security. We should be our own first police. Be observant, make sure you understand what is going on around you, and then also ensure that people that are around you, you are good to them. I always make examples of landlords, the way they relate to their tenants. They do not, any price of thing goes up, then the rents also go up too. And then you are like,
market forces.
Exactly what is going on. Is the house moving from one place to the other? We understand that you might need repairs and all of that, but we should be considerate. You also mentioned those who are applying certain routes and, the fact that it's festive period. It's not only festive period. When it rains, we see the what do we call them? Those whose offices are on the road. That's what I used to, describe them. The bus conductors and also the drivers. They increase transport fare, and that's not nice. It only rained. If I have the money, I would be driving my car. If I have the money, if I have any other means, I won't enter your vehicle. So we should be considerate. Not everything is government. We should also learn to be our own brothers' keepers.
Very, very important, because that aspect of increment in house rent, whenever there is perhaps one slight adjustment made by the government, yes, they tell you market forces, market this and all of that.
In English, they put in one on cost.
Because it doesn't make sense to me how the house isn't moving. And you're not making any repairs, so to speak. I'm already paying the rent, which you can't take monies from to make any repairs you want to make. So what is it that is this market forces? We may not understand, maybe because we are not landlords
yet.
But we can
in quotes.
we
But
can
no, we may not really understand until we are wearing their shoes. But we need to understand that even if you are making increments, you have to just make something.
Considerate. No,
be
no one
considerate.
says you shouldn't
Bottom line.
increase, you shouldn't
Bottom line.
add some 1 or 2 naira to it, but then let it be reasonable so that everyone can relate.
That's why special mention was made of the few landlords who reached out during COVID.
Yes,
who
yes.
reached out to their tenants.
Yes, that's humanity.
That was really cheering.
All right.